Do you think peace is possible while Netanyahu is in Israel and Hamas is in Gaza? Do they both need to be got rid of?
Not under the present circumstances. If there were more pressure put on them, they might come forward.
A lot of people wonder why Saudi Arabia is not taking a more muscular position over this. You know, in 1973 there was an oil embargo against Western states who supported Israel. Why does Saudi Arabia not do more like that?
Well, you know, imposing an oil embargo on whoever these days is not going to work. There is a glut of oil in the world, and the producers of oil since 1973 have expanded considerably. The United States now hardly imports any oil because it has its own resources. Europe, of course, although dependent on imports and so on, yet the producers of oil go beyond Saudi Arabia and the Arab world and so on. So that as a tool is not going to work nowadays.
What do you think Saudi Arabia's role would be in the building of a new Palestinian state?
Well, I think any support we can give to the Palestinian people, we will not hesitate to do. I cannot specify any particular department or action that the kingdom can take.
But there would be lots of Saudi money.
Oh, not just money, but technical know-how, political support, whatever you want, yani. But, you know, reconstructing Gaza should be a world responsibility. And there should be a United Nations fund to do that. And I think we should also impose on the Israelis to pay for some of the reconstruction in Gaza because of they are the ones who destroyed that infrastructure.
Do you still think normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel is realistic?
Well, under the present circumstances, with Mr. Netanyahu and his government saying that they are not going to recognize a Palestinian state, the kingdom is not going to recognize Israel. The establishment of a Palestinian state is a prerequisite for any normalization, not just between Saudi Arabia and Israel, but other countries as well that still don't recognize Israel.
But you think President Biden is the most pro-Israeli president there has been in a long time.
Well,
so would you rather see President Trump back?
Well, for me, whoever is elected by the American people, we will have to deal with. We've dealt with both. President Trump is not new territory for us. We know where he comes from, we know what his aims are and so on, and we worked with him on various issues. We worked with President Biden, and it is now President Biden who at one time wanted to consider us a pariah state, and yet he was working at the end of the time to work with us on bringing about normalization. So that's how we operate.